Hello everybody, I'm Krasi. Today I'll talk about the self-confidence and the self-esteem, how to see this in the natal chart of someone, and also what are the remedies to improve the lacking self-confidence. So first of all, self-confidence is something that can be inner or outer, and the outer one is based on purely materialistic values. We will talk about the inner self-confidence, as this is the most valuable one, the more long-lasting one, and the one that is having roots in our families. It has to do with the way we were, our upbringing, our family roots, our parents' relationship with our parents. So also the self-esteem and the self-confidence is something that we simply irradiate. We cannot fake it, because people are, especially nowadays when everybody is awakening, the self-esteem is something that people just intuitively sense and they know. So it has to be real. It has to come deep from our soul. So this is also something that can be seen in the chart, of course. The most important planet, which is about the self-esteem, about our self-esteem, is the sun. It is, of course, it is the sun, but also the relationship between the sun and the moon in the chart are very, very important for many reasons. First, because the moon is our mindset, it is intuition, it is feelings. The sun is the body, the consciousness, the higher self, and the relation between the two is very important. Also because the sun and the moon are representing the parents, the father and the mother. So any disharmony between the two can be hurting our self-esteem, the self-confidence. Also, let's not forget the second house. Not only because the second house is about money and the way we make our incomes, but the second house is about the family roots. So how the second house ruler is placed in the chart, afflicted or not, is very important. Then you can judge on one's roots, family roots. Ascendant. The ascendant, it is yourself. The ascendant is giving wonderful description of one's character, values, appearances, just everything. The ascendant is very, very important. So how the ascendant ruler is placed is very, very important. Afflicted or not, very, very important. In which signs is placed, very, very important. Why? Because imagine on key positions you having only water signs. Imagine you having your ascendant ruler in a water sign, or the ascendant water sign, or if you're having midheaven in Pisces or Scorpio or Cancer, or you are having the moon also in everything in water signs, then the ground under one's feet can be a bit lacking, and then you can doubt the power of his or her self-esteem. Of course, this is not a single factor that you can rely on when judging. Then what can give additional powers to the horoscope, but powers in terms of experiences, how one experiences life, with what amplitudes? This comes from the powers that the key places in the chart have. And this comes from the signs associated with the equinoxes and the solstices. So if one would have these very important for our era, signs, Pisces for vernal spring equinox, Virgo for autumn, Gemini for summer solstice, and Sagittarius for winter solstice. And especially if this is happening around the 5th degree in 04, we can say that there is a serious amplitude on the way she or her will experience life events. This also has to do with self-confidence, but not directly. This is a small factor that you add up to your analysis when looking at the factor of self-confidence, because many people want to know about this. And then, of course, water. As we said this about the water sign. So the second house ruler, the 11th house ruler, how this is placed is also very important. Also, the royal stars. The royal stars are key factor. Some of them work more on the outer self-confidence, the one that is based on material achievements. But let's look at the one that simply means courage. And courage has to do with self-confidence. Courage to look in the eyes of life, as someone used to say. Like, we need to have the courage to watch the life into his eyes. So this comes from the royal star, Regulus, the star in the heart of the lion. And this is the 5th degrees Leo. So people who would have Leo rising, but in particularly this degree, 5th degree Leo, would have good courage. And this is a factor good enough to seek further elements for good self-confidence. Leo in general rising is quite powerful in terms of concluding, adding additional factors to it, of course, looking further into the chart, that one would have sufficient self-confidence. Aldebaran, and if you have questions on these 4 royal stars, I made separate 4 videos on each one of them, and I think they're under playlist royal stars. So Aldebaran is the star associated purely with materialistic luck, money, wealth, and luck in general. And this is the 15 degrees of Taurus, in the eye of the bull. And this star is really about self-esteem, powerful self-esteem, to a degree that this can reach unrealistic realms even. And then you have in Antares, the star which is just opposite Taurus. And this star is about the warrior. So here we can also talk of self-esteem, but in another way, in more a way of always desire to achieve in a very Martian way. And then we have in the 4th one, which is Fomalhaut, and it's a very spiritual one. And here the people will be very, if this star is rising, people may be too humble and will not recognize own achievements, even if they're in the spiritual reality, they may lack self-esteem. However, especially Regulus and Aldebaran are pointing towards powerful self-esteem of the native. Example, look at the chart of Donald Trump. He has both. He has on midheaven Aldebaran, and his rising degree, I think he had Mars in Regulus on his rising sign, on his ascendant. So Regulus is very, very important. Actually, when you recognize the lack of self-esteem in someone's chart, nothing is lost. Knowledge is power. And from there are remedies that can be done to achieve self-esteem. And since the sun is the most important planet, which is about self-esteem, I'm sure that connecting with the sun is very, very important. Connecting with the sun would be every morning, but especially on Sunday, the day of the sun, every morning to welcome the sun when the sun is rising, and to make this consciously. Consciously would mean to know why you're doing this. Then it would be very important to wear the colors of the sun, to use the gemstones and the herbs. If, for example, imagine now in March, very soon, you will start seeing, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, here, this beautiful herb, dandelion, if I pronounce it well in English, which is great, powerful herb of the sun. You may take it as a tea. Some people make emulsions, they cook it with sugar and they take it in as honey, or you can simply dry it, surround yourself with the dried dandelion because it doesn't last so long, and you can use it for a small altar where you can store your gemstones of the sun, for example. But this is really a very powerful as well. Of course I will speak, because this is my passion, that astrological talismans work, the ones that are consecrated on the day of the sun, when the sun is highly dignified, and these are only 2 moments in the year. And then this consecrated talisman is having the power. It's like somebody who will be supporting your self-esteem, your health, when you wear it. Another thing is also the Regulus talisman, or connecting with Regulus. Imagining that you are, when you are welcoming the sun every morning, imagine that you're also connecting with the lion constellation, with the heart of the lion. So all this works. And it works to such a degree that you will notice improvement overall in your health condition, energy condition. You may feel that you have better energy, and you will do much more in the day, because the afflicted sun can result also in this, or in health issues related to the heart, for example, because the sun represents the heart. So there are many things that you can do on supporting your inner self-confidence, because the outer self-confidence is very materialistic, and this is there is another way to approach this, and this is purely money, how you look at wealth, money in the chart. And of course, as we said, we cannot fake self-esteem. People have their antennas, people have their intuition, and if we have real self-esteem that comes down here from our soul, then it's the real one, and the people around you will sense it. They will not mistaken it with anything else. So we really need to build the self-esteem from within, and this is work that will be rewarded. I am sure that reconnecting with the sun, it was since very ancient times, very important ritual. Even when on my channel we were discussing the prashna, the Indian Vedic horary astrology, they would start, the astrologer would face east and will start the day with a prayer to the sun. So with this I'm completing. Thank you.